All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we got some news in the boxing world as it is being reported that Turki Alasheik and the PIF are running low on funds and are going to pull back on their boxing in 2026. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we have a major update in the sport of boxing as it appears that, I should say this carefully, it has been reported that one of the biggest financiers of the sport of boxing is running low on money and is having to redirect a lot of funds towards another project that he had going on, and that this could adversely affect the sport of boxing. I wouldn't say adversely, but let me try to be fair to the people that are fans of Turki Alasheik. I am personally not a fan of him, and I've always seen this coming. Basically, what Turki Alasheik did was pay as much money as he could to as many fighters as he could to get under the Rehab banner, and then trusted from there that he would be able to sell that to people. And that just was not the situation. It's never going to be the situation, because as much as people want to just act like you can pick up American boxing and move it to Saudi Arabia, it doesn't work like that. The reason that boxing was successful in America is because of American citizens who watch boxing in the evening or during the times where it's available, and to jerk it out of the United States of America, throw it in Saudi Arabia, and then throw a bunch of afternoon boxing matches that have to compete with a bunch of sports in the United States, like college football, college basketball, all of the tennis, all of the different sports that come on in the afternoon on Saturdays. Boxing is now going to try to compete with that. There was a reason why boxing matches were started getting put on late in the evening, because those are the time slots where it can be competitive and it's not going to compete against other sports. So I never really thought that model of taking American boxing out of America and throwing it into Saudi Arabia was going to work. It didn't work well for the UK boxing, and they are starting to try to pick their domestic scene up again after having pretty much gotten gutted by Turki Alasheik. Now, at the end of the day, I knew this was going to happen. Now, of course, Turki Alasheik is going to deny this. Ring Magazine is going to deny that this has taken place. And why is that? Because this is a news story that leaked. And since it leaked, they have to deny it because they have a lot of different obligations that they have to take care of, contracts that they've signed with people, promises they've made with people that these people are going to have to fulfill, or they're going to have. And so if you tell these people that you're going to have to start switching things up, some of your investments are in distress, then they're going to have to put out some counter messages in order to kind of slow down the damage that's being done from the announcement itself. But look, man, I just am glad that I hope, I don't even know if I want this to be true, because if you think about it, do you know how much if Turki Alasheik pulls his support for boxing because they can't afford it, all right? And at a certain point in time, you have to understand this venture that these guys have is extremely, extremely, extremely expensive. And Turki, not being from America, is surrounding himself by people that are probably driving his prices up as high as they possibly can get it, because they know full well that this gravy train is not going to last forever. I just think this has just been a bad venture for Turki Alasheik and the PIF. They're going to try to save face. Probably shift things over to dealing with boxing on EA Sports, and then just kind of moving on, man. Because look, man, you know the old saying, if something is too good to be true, more than likely it's not true. And this is what Turki Alasheik and rehab season has been for boxing. Look at what happened to the roster of Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, having run all of those fights back to back to back to back to back with Turki Alasheik. The result is that they don't really have much of a stable left anymore. They got their money, now they're gone. That is, if you look at some fighters like Jared Anderson, where Jared Anderson is in Jared Anderson's career, when Jared Anderson went over there and fought Martin Bakole when his promoter and everybody told him he wasn't ready, but he ran out there for the money, right? Now he's going to have another fight against Frank Sanchez, and don't be surprised if Jared Anderson loses to Frank Sanchez too, because those guys are two comebacking type fighters, right? I think Frank Sanchez got knocked out by Ajit Cabal, I think, and Martin Bakole knocked out my guy. So Jared Anderson. So this kid was somebody that had a promising future as an American heavyweight if he had been allowed to develop himself the way the Top Rank wanted to develop the fighters. The way that you have Turki Alasheik going, there's not going to be any development of fighters. You're not going to get them 5, 10, 15 fights in order for them to get acclimated, to see different styles and do all that. Because in that rehab season situation, they're just matching names and saying, okay, like, for example, Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason is like 21 years old, became the youngest champion at the time, became the youngest champion in boxing, but don't get it twisted. Sam Noakes was a much more experienced fighter. And if Abdullah Mason fights Sam Noakes a year and a half, 2 years from now, he winds up stopping him. But by putting him in there early, it winds up being a brutal, tough fight. Not something that, not saying it's something where Abdullah Mason didn't learn anything. I'm just saying that it's just a situation where, now, man, he's really got to jump out there and be with the Dragons instead of getting developed into the full fighter that he could be. But look, man, I ain't got anything against necessarily the rehab cards if they were not charging $50 for them. That's something else that tells you that these guys are not financially as solvent as what they say they are. Because if they were, why are they charging for these pay-per-views? They used to have the conversation that they had unlimited funds. They didn't care anything about money. But somehow they keep stacking on and stacking on and stacking on more charges onto DAZN and rehab cards. So I have to give a little credence to the fact that they're saying these guys are running out of money, or they're looking to the point to figure out how they can stop losing so much money and go to create a model where they can start earning money. And then that the model that they set up can be self-sustaining, where you don't have to keep jumping into your bank account and paying everything out with your own money. You have something out there that is actually generating and making money on itself. But it's tough to do the two things at the same time. Try to make yourself look like you're be the king of Saudi Arabia, and at the same time being a practical businessman. Could very well be two different skill sets, if you know what I mean. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Man, I hope you guys really did enjoy your Thanksgiving. I appreciate all of the support that you guys give to the channel. I didn't in this video want to just go out there and say, oh, Turkey's broke, Turkey's broke. No, I do think that they are ratcheting this stuff down, though, and it was only a matter of time before they started ratcheting it down. And I think it's going to be a case of the last man standing. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.